Good morning, I'm Julio Saenz, along with Mauricio Riveros. Today we'll meet John Loury, who left Rochester but came back to his hometown to start Cause and Effect Strategy, a company specializing in business intelligence.
We hope you will be inspired.
Celebrating leaders in Rochester's unique and vibrant business community. We'll meet entrepreneurs whose passion and perseverance have helped push through life's challenges. Join us as we share their stories and journeys to success. It's time to be inspired.
Thank you, John, for being inspired, a show that we developed to interview people like you in this wonderful Rochester, New York. So let's start talking about who is John.
Well, my name is John Loury. I'm the president of Cause and Effect Strategy, a Rochester-based business intelligence and analytics consulting firm. Grew up in the area, went to Rondequoit High School, educated in Western New York at the University of Buffalo for my bachelor's and master's. And, after a couple stops in Las Vegas, Buffalo, proud to be back here in Rochester and celebrating our 6th year of Cause and Effect.
Wow, that is wonderful. So tell me, what was the moment where you made the decision, okay, it's time for me to create a company and take the risk and go in that direction?
Actually, I have a pretty good story about that, Mauricio. I was working at a great company, great agency in Buffalo, and they had tasked me with helping to put together what the strategy for applying data analytics would be for the company moving forward. So I spent a lot of time going to conferences, doing research, put together a great proposal for the company, for the leadership team, and people, budget, basically we'll say a minor business plan. And I presented that. It was received very well. And actually the company made the strategic decision not to move forward with creating this division of analytics at that time. I kind of stewed on that a little bit. And again, great company, a lot of great memories, stewed on that and was able to get connected with a funding source here in Rochester, another gentleman who became a co-founder of Cause and Effect. Him and I collaborated on rounding out that business plan. We brought in another friend, Mr. Michael Sutton, who was another co-founder, and we launched on January 12th of 2015.
Fantastic. Now, John, for our business owners who may be watching, who don't understand really what business intelligence is, maybe they've seen an IBM commercial, maybe they've seen a few things, but don't really understand it. How would you explain that to your average small business owner?
Sure. Well, there are a lot of systems that most businesses use. And today in 2021, we're really fortunate that most of those systems generate data, and data that's accessible to users, to owners, to licensees of this software. And what we do is we help clients use that data. We help them to aggregate it and to apply it specifically for business challenges that they may have.
And that is powerful. Information is power. I think that's one of the basic principles. And today, with the information that is being generated in significant amounts, be able to really have the capacity to analyze and digest that information and put it strategically is fundamental. So let's talk about what are those recommendations that you have in a traditional owner to really prioritize and say, okay, I really need to have these business analytics. What's the rule that you use to help in general your clients?
Well, I think it starts out with doing some sort of a survey of what you have, knowing, just like when you're about to, make a beautiful dinner, first we have to make sure that all the ingredients are there, know what we have, know what we don't have. So preparation is extremely important, and understanding what we have and what we need is number one. And that's before we even talk about adding technology. So understanding what we have, and then also creating a vision. We have to have something that we're shooting towards. And this doesn't need to be something that's highly technical. We're going to use AI. No, where does the business want to go, and what do we want to achieve with data? And all of that other stuff, all of that technology, all of that process, that's what we fill in. So understanding what we currently have and coming up with a vision for how BI or analytics or data is going to impact our business, that's what we're looking for.
Really powerful stuff. If you can't measure it, you can't manage it. So
that's a great saying.
Yeah. And so now, what about your customers, your business owners, the people that may be watching, where's that line between making decisions based just on data and gut?
Well, I'm not gonna, 6 years into this business, I'm not gonna say that making decisions with your gut is altogether a bad thing. I would never do that. Some people may, but no, instincts are important. However, data with instincts is killer. And that's what we really hope to support our clients in doing. Anecdotal information, historical information, experiences that people have had are fantastic. But what we're trying to do with data is we're trying to be able to scale that instinct. If something happens once or twice, oftentimes that sticks out in our minds. But what about 1,000, 100,000, 1,000,000 times of that transaction? Are you going to be able to remember every experience that you had or every nuance? No. And that's where data comes in. It helps us basically expand and enhance those instincts.
So if I am a small business owner or a medium-sized company, sometimes we'll think, oh, that's just for the big corporations that really have this capacity. So what's the benefit for a small business owner?
Well, I think small and medium-sized businesses oftentimes can benefit the most from business intelligence and analytics. The big guys, some of them are going to succeed regardless of themselves, whether it's because of their sheer scale or their ability to do R&D and come out with new products. It really is the small and medium-sized businesses that can benefit the most from this, because what it really and truly enables them to do is be more agile. And we know that in today's business environment, small companies like a cause and effect can actually consult with big guys, Fortune 1000 companies. So it's not about size and scale anymore. It's how agile you are and what value you can bring not only to your business, but to your clients' businesses.
Now, it's such a unique new field. I congratulate you for taking that first step to start this business six years ago now. And
Yes.
now, before that, had you ever thought about being an entrepreneur? When do you think you got bit by the bug? I mean, did you have a mentor or someone that maybe inspired you when you were younger to start up your own business, or at least plant that seed?
Sure. I'm very fortunate, Julio, to have several mentors and influences in my life. I think, first of all, grandfather, stepfather, all entrepreneurs, father-in-law, entrepreneur. But that wasn't what kind of did it for me. It had to do with seeing a gap, and I was going to help me and Mike and Eric. We were going to fill that gap, and it wasn't just a gap locally. It was a gap that we saw in industry in general. And I think you've seen quite a bit of investment in companies over the last 5-10 years in this space, and it seems like we got into it at just the right time.
And that's key, right? Timing is essential for any business, and I think you arrived in the right time. Now, with the amount of information that is being generated through the internet and the social media, and be able to really reach customers and consumers through all these platforms, what's the service that you provide to help them to analyze statistics around, for example, visiting their webpage or analyzing their, LinkedIn or whatever type of social platform, social media that they have, depending on the product? But do you guys provide that type of analyticals too?
Yes, we do. Marketing intelligence is a quickly growing field. It's a bit challenging because you have so many different media properties that are independents. So you have Facebook, you have Google, you have LinkedIn. Those are 3 different companies, 3 different platforms, 3 different streams of data. And those are just, the ones we name off the top of our heads. So the ability to aggregate that data into a single view, be able to create visualizations that people can understand and can make good, quick, honest, insightful business decisions from, is critical, and it has a chance to provide immense value. So yes, it is. It's something that we work with clients every day on, and not just the big clients that you recognize, but also local community organizations have been able to benefit from that too.
Now, we talk so much about Mauricio, and you were just talking about Facebook and LinkedIn, and there's just all these streams of information. Where do you see business intelligence in 5 years, not just the advance in the technology, but also around privacy and what restrictions may come from the government, if any?
Yeah, I think, for a while, the concept of one-to-one marketing has been a buzzword, and people are trying to achieve, you think of mass media, radio and TV hitting these large groups of audiences, and with the advent of social media and digital advertising, now we're creating messaging that goes to a much smaller group or potentially a single individual. I don't necessarily know that if for some reason we can't achieve that one-to-oneness because of privacy concerns, which in some cases are well-founded, as long as we can get to a group level or a segment level, I think that we still stand a great chance of developing strategies that are data-driven and can be very successful.
Well, thank you, John. We'll be back with more after these messages. You mentioned earlier the fact that, well, first we just talked about technology and the use of it, and then you mentioned earlier, that although, you're a 9-person team, you've consulted for Fortune 1000 companies and things. And so my question is, I'm sure there's a lot of small, medium-sized businesses that wonder, how as a Rochester-based business can you sort of still market and find customers all regionally and around the country? How do you do that?
Sure. Well, part of it is word of mouth. We have clients in Seattle, we have clients in California, we have clients in Wisconsin, maybe even a client in South America and Sydney very soon. So, word travels fast. And if you do a great job and you're able to have impact people's businesses in a really positive way, they share your name pretty quick, because that's as business owners and leaders of companies, that's what we're looking for, people who can help make an impact. I think so it's word of mouth. It's also partnerships with other firms who are complementary to yours, and also looking at what tools do you use, what systems do you use internally, and is there a way that we can leverage the partnership with the tool or technology that we're using to go to market with a combined solution. So I would say it's a couple of 2 or 3 different lead sources or ways in which we market, and we've done some outbound marketing stuff too, some cold calling and some email campaigns, and those really are kind of hit or miss. It's really difficult to really capitalize on those and do it at a scale where there's actually data and insight that you can translate into strategy. So a lot of word of mouth and a lot of great partnerships.
I love that capacity to be versatile and also be able to create partnerships and connect and provide services in different places. And the vision that you have to even go overseas, that is fundamental in the world that we live, that is so integrated. Now, Rochester, New York, and this is what I love of your organization, is you are leveraging the brain power, the amazing brain power that we have in this city, the lifestyle. So what's your opinion about Rochester and why people should invest in Rochester, New York?
Oh man, Mauricio, we could have a whole nother interview about my love for Rochester and without these different institutions, whether it be the West Irondequoit School District or the different cultural things that we have here, the things that I was able to be exposed to as a young child, as a young adult, those have made me who I am today. I again, not to blatantly advertise, but I wear Hickey Freeman on purpose. I wear it because it's made here in Rochester, New York, and I am so proud to be able to be an advocate for them. And so I'm Rochester through and through. My great-grandfather worked at Kodak. My grandfather worked at Kodak. My father worked at Kodak. So I don't want to harp on that, but that's the past page. We're turning the page on the new Rochester, and I am very proud and honored to be a part of that. And I'm also very honored to help others who can benefit from whether it be any experiences I've had or the story or the success that we've had very happy to share that and to help others, because that's really what's going to get us in that full transition to the new Rochester, is really a sense of collaboration. And I think that's something we may have been missing in past generations. We had these sort of ivory towers, and you hitched your future to one of these ivory towers, and that was enough. Those ivory towers don't exist anymore, and it's a global community, and we're all trying to do our best. And if we look at each other here locally as less as competitors and more as teammates, I don't think that there's anything that Rochester can accomplish from an economic or a social standpoint.
Fantastic answer. You're talking to two huge fans of Rochester, so I agree with you 100%. And now, as far as, one of the great things about Rochester is the talent pool that we have here. How as a leader, do you lead your organization and try to instill that passion for what you do in your employees?
Sure. I will say that and I'm sure you're all very well versed in this. Rochester graduates a tremendous amount of technology and other subject matter talent. I think the real challenge that we have and other companies have is keeping that talent here in Rochester. I spoke at the back when we were able to meet in person. I think it was December 2019 at this point. U of R's Master of Data Science commencement. And at the end of that commencement, there were 36 students. 36 out of 36 were leaving Rochester after graduation. And man, I was so happy for them, but I was also so sad for Rochester that we just graduated some great data science related talent, and they were all going to New York, San Francisco, Shanghai, Miami. So I think that the challenge that we have is, how do we as a small business appeal to a student? And we were all those students. I finished my master's at University of Buffalo, and I was moving to Las Vegas because I never wanted to eat a chicken wing or a turkey sub ever again. I was going big time. And we have to allow the talent to kind of try to realize those dreams, especially as young people. But I'm sure we're all familiar with the boomerang effect. So, you go away for a while and then you remember how special this community was. You remember how the great times that you had and the quality of people that are from this community, and you come back. And I was my last stop was Buffalo for 8 years before I moved back to Rochester. And I was always looking for a reason to come back. It just needed to be the right opportunity, and it presented itself. So I think we're always going to struggle as small businesses to get that talent right out of college, because there is that, yearning to kind of go off on your own and work for the Googles and, the Facebooks. But I think once they've gotten that experience and they're looking for, quality of life, being able affordability, and they come back here, that's our time. That's when we snatch them up.
John, it's really an honor to have you in this program, because you can see also the projection of what is the future, and you don't have a crystal ball, but what we will be seeing in the next coming 10 years in terms of business intelligence. And I love your approach of simplification, because sometimes we go with these buzzwords, like you said, and we make this too complex, when business owners need to make quick and sometimes very critical decisions, and based on data that comes very quick. And I love always, we just did an ERP reform in my company, and trying to integrate all those factors and have one screen that can give me everything. So what do you see in the future in terms of business intelligence?
Sure. I think things are going to continue to be simplified. The number of systems that we use in our businesses is not going to go away. It's not going to be some killer app, or, it's not just going to be one software. So I think the methodologies and the processes to unify those into a single view, I think that's going to get faster. Right now, you hear the terms like full stack developer or Java, people that can code. Those things are extremely important, and they're only going to become more important. I think like with things like AI, which 5-10 years ago was a very manual process. AI, someone had to develop an algorithm. Well, people are trying to automate. Now, I don't think automation is the solution to everything. I mean, we still have people building cars. I mean, they're not totally automated yet, the process, but I think you're going to see some automation in places where it needs to be. And the idea is to get that data faster.
Well, John, we were really impressed today, and you have inspired us with this interview, because I personally believe that this is where business needs to go. We need to start using more of the data. The information is available there. And if we go to John's company, he will help us to simplify processes, to get the right information that we need to make the right decisions. And so thank you, John, and thank you for investing in Rochester, and thank you for believing in this beautiful city. We know that we will see more and better times in Rochester. So thank you again for being part of this community.
Well, I thank you both. Mauricio and Julio, thank you for committing your time and resources and energy into an initiative like this. Without people like you, our voices, the small businesses, they go unheard. And I really appreciate this opportunity. Thank you all very much.
Coming up next week on Be Inspired, we'll meet Alex Castro, the CEO of the Pastone Corporation, who was once a client of the organization, and hear about his unique path to success.
To watch today's episode and the complete interviews of our guests, go to rochesterfirst.com/beinspired. For more great talk with Rochester's entrepreneurs, listen to Boded 97.1 Saturdays at 9 a.m. For Mauricio Riveros, I'm Julio Saenz. We'll see you next week on Be Inspired.